Welcome to Read Your Comics. Today I'm going in blind to Universe X. Thanks for joining me. My name is Daryl. I am the host of Read Your Comics, and I'm going to be looking at a dark future for the Fantastic Four. This is the intro to the second part of the Earth X, Universe X series that Alex Ross kind of created on a whim. If you're not familiar with how it all started, Wizard Magazine commissioned Alex Ross to do a Kingdom Come take on Marvel for the magazine. And when they did that, it was such a hit. It was just, sketches of different characters with a little synopsis of what the character's current status quo would have been in this future dystopian world that he was kind of throwing together. And fans reacted overwhelmingly positive to it, to where then Marvel decided, you know what? Do you want to do this series? And he did, but he didn't paint the whole series. He just did covers, helped with story plotting and elements. He had Jim Krueger step in as the main writer, like he kind of picked him, and Jean-Paul Leon, who did the art in the original Earth X series. Now, I did read Earth X when it came out, and I did not love it. It was just too much trying to cram it into the series. It didn't hit the same way as Kingdom Come did. And I don't really even remember much of the plot, to be honest. It was that long ago. I only read it the one time as it came out month to month. So a little later, about maybe a year after or something, they did a sequel because it was still a hit with other people. And it's not that I hated it. I just didn't like it. I didn't love it. I didn't love it enough to put it up there in the pantheon of great comics for me. So maybe I could go back and revisit it someday because people do love it. I mean, it spawned two more maxi series after that. And this was kind of like a kickoff to the second part, which was called Universe X. Now, even though I didn't love Earth X1, I did at least pick up this and maybe the first few issues of Universe X. I didn't stick with it. It was a little pricier book at the time. Because I wasn't loving it, I just kind of dropped off of it, like kind of early. It was also in that time period where I was like, I'll come back and get this later as a trade, and I never did. But I got this Fantastic Four issue at the time, and I didn't really remember reading it. I'm sure I did, but like I was like, I've pulled it out to post on Instagram kind of recently, and then I was like, you know what, this would be a good one to do on my channel for the Fantastic Four series that I'm doing, because it does have some interesting takes on things on the inside. It's almost like a get caught up on how the Fantastic Four got to where they are in Earth X. And as I read through this again, I realized how lost I still was from what happened in Earth X. So Alex Ross, of course, doing the cover. It's almost like a monument to Fantastic Four. It looks like something that maybe they had passed away, with an eternal flame right here, and two of them are dead. That's probably known going into the series from Earth X that Sue and Johnny had both died. And it gets into that in here. In fact, that's like a huge part of this story. So this is Machine Man, if you're unfamiliar, and he's taken over the role of the Watcher. And I've got to say, whoever thought it was going to be clever to do this circuit board dialogue for his narration as well as his words, and have it be so strong over the printed text, man, how that made it through a Marvel comic, I don't know. It makes this text so hard to read. Not impossible, but hard, and it's terrible design choice there. Brent Anderson is the artist on this, by the way, and he's credited with both pencil and inking, but we also have Will Blyberg on ink, so I don't know, maybe Anderson didn't get it all inked himself, and Blyberg had to step in. Nick Bell on colors, and I don't know what else Brent Anderson does for the Earth X stuff. Obviously, he works with Alex Ross heavily on Astro City, so I'm sure that was kind of a pick for him to come and work on this book. I'm not sure if Jean-Paul Leon did the Universe X and Paradise X series as well as the first one. He may have. Anyhow, so let me get back to it. This is Machine Man. He is now the Watcher, and he's talking to what appears to be Galactus. And Galactus in this case is Franklin Richards, who has taken over the role of Galactus. I guess this is the fallout from Earth X. This is where I'm saying I was coming in blind. Like, I don't remember this, but I guess at some point there was a baby celestial inside the Earth, much like in the Eternals movie. And to stop it, Galactus had to help, and something where Galactus, the real Galactus, died, and Franklin Richards became Galactus. But now Franklin Richards doesn't remember that he's Franklin Richards. He thinks he was always Galactus, and the Machine Man Watcher can't tell him that he was Franklin Richards because that would upset the whole balance. It's kind of convoluted when I'm sitting here trying to explain it. But Galactus is wondering about Franklin Richards. It's like it's haunting his mind. The Franklin Richards is on Galactus's mind because he is Franklin Richards, but just doesn't remember it. And it's interesting too that like not only in this, but there's been a Galactus Franklin Richards connection going on for a while now. Like Mark Waid did the history of the Marvel Universe, and he has it where Galactus and Franklin Richards are the last two beings in the universe before the universe dies, and through them they're doing the narration of the history of the Marvel Universe. But it's interesting, this Franklin Richards Galactus dynamic that seems to be kind of canon, I guess, now, as far as like there's a connection between them and everything's always going to get there. I don't remember that being the case before this, though. So I don't remember a celestial gestating inside the Earth before this either. So some aspects of Earth X kind of came through and have been used in different media, obviously, and different storylines aside from this kind of, parallel universe type stuff. So some of this book is going to be just kind of FF Origin recap. You get some nice Brent Anderson panels here recreating what Jack Kirby did. And then we're going to jump to like what's going on in the present day or future present day of the Fantastic Four, who Reed Richards is wearing Doctor Doom's clothes. I never quite understood why he took on the Doctor Doom armor and stuff, and they moved into Doom's castle, who's dead. Ben is alive. He's married to Alicia, who has this like glowing eyes, because everyone's a mutant now too. I guess I should have said that. That was a big premise of Earth X, is that everyone has superpowers. Everyone is a mutant. And they discuss it in here, how that happened, that Black Bolt had released Terrigen Mist into the atmosphere and it activated everyone's X gene. Everybody has an X gene, and you got a power from it somehow. Richards feels like he needs to reverse that somehow because that's what's turned the world into this dystopia. But at the same time, a lot of these people that have powers, they want to keep their powers and they don't want that to change. So, what's he to do? So he holds up as Dr. Doom, has grown his hair long and a beard, kind of looking like, is it John Malkovich in the First Steps movie scene? Or is that what we're going to get? A future Reed Richards or Nathaniel Richards looking like that? I don't know. I'm not big into movie spec, but, it's kind of fun to look at this design and see what he looked like in that movie and kind of try to figure it out. Anyway, they have Adam Warlock, or him, and they refer to him as him a few times here, who has a child too that's been hidden away for some reason. This is all the I'm lost stuff. But there's some snappy dialogue here that Ben is, doing the sitcom dad stuff of like, oh, marriage is, it's like the old ball and chain holding me down. And then she walks up and he's like, oh, but baby, I love you. I'm just talking big to this guy. Then Warlock and Richards are having a discussion about the whole, like about his child. They're burning these torches that's supposed to be burning off the Terrigen Mist. Richards is kind of blamed for this Earth X too, even though it was Black Bolt that did it. And so I'm wondering, like, is this stuff that happened in Earth X? I just can't remember. Or is this new explanation for this special? It just doesn't add up to me. And the narration here is a little disjointed because it goes back and forth between what Reed Richards is talking about, which I think is really setting up the Earth X maxi series, and also the Watcher telling Galactus kind of the history of the Fantastic Four and catching you up on how they got to their current status. It's not great, I don't think, but it's not awful at the same time. It just makes for kind of a hard, disjointed read. But I do like the Brent Anderson art as I go through it. There's a whole thing here about, Sue was in love with Reed, attracted to Namor, but attraction isn't love. And it's part of what drove Namor a little mad that he's this king that could have anything he wanted, but he couldn't have her. It pushed him towards Doctor Doom, and then leading to this confrontation with the Human Torch, where Namor kills the Human Torch, and Franklin freaks out and curses Namor to burn. So half of Namor is on fire. He's like kind of half Human Torch. But that's who Reed has hidden Warlock's son with, and they need to get him back, and he's sending Ben Grimm to go get him. So Ben's not happy about it because Namor killed Johnny, and he's trying to be nice, but he can't contain himself. I like this outfit. This feels like something Kirby would have drawn, like a big seashell for an air tank on his back, this diving suit. Notice like his fire is out, but he's like charred, or he's wearing some clothes, I guess, to cover where he burns. Because he doesn't, it's not like Johnny, he could turn the flame on and off. It's just when he's in the air, he burns. And I think it leaves him scarred behind. He's cursed. And Ben can't control himself, so we get a nice big splash page of underwater Ben hitting the Submariner and sending him flying through the water. More history, as the Watcher explains when Galactus first came to Earth and the Watcher gave Richards the nullifier. Galactus is becoming more infuriated, saying, what does this have to do with Franklin Richards? And Machine Man is kind of like, I'm getting there, chill out. Then he explains the whole thing about the Celestials. Get back to the battle here as Tiger Shark, and I don't know who this character is. Is this supposed to be like Namorita? I don't know. She's kind of like a zombie looking thing. But they go to fight Ben, and, he's not worried about getting hit, but he does need air. And they crack his faceplate. I guess Namor dispatches them real quick, or they swim off. And Namor gives him mouth-to-mouth to resuscitate him and pulls him in. I thought this was a neat scene where the water just kind of stops and he's able to just pull him through. And you see how he becomes flame as he drags him in. And Ben is kind of making a joke about having to be humiliated with mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Brent Anderson does a pretty good thing, I think. And Agatha Harkness is down here with the child of Him. I don't know who Him's or Adam Warlock's partner was to have this child, but that's the child of Adam Warlock. Then we go into this like other realm. There's all the dead heroes are in this other world fighting each other, and they think they are alive and that the people that aren't there are dead. And the colors are like kind of negative. So in this case, we see Quicksilver and Wanda, and they're fighting Doctor Doom. This is Marvel and Doctor Strange. And Marvel has the like Captain Universe powers too. But it's for some reason they're able to look in on this and see what's going on. And Doctor Strange is kind of in his full-on astral form, I guess. Look at his fingernails. He's looking very Howard Hughes-ish at this point. He's the Ancient One, I guess. And this part all confused me to no end as well here. So is this Marvel? Does he power it down to look like this? So I don't know who this character is supposed to be. This is Marvel, and he's got the Captain Universe powers going. But this person is dead because he says, Steven, you wanted me to give it to you. Interesting rainbow of light coloration here as we go through more history of meeting the Watcher for the first time, traveling in time. And Reed, saying like how he understood throughout all of these events that the Watcher was always watching them. And for some reason, they're wanting to bring Sue back. I don't understand why, but they have to convince her that she's dead. And they first convince Johnny, and they use Johnny to convince her. And I like how the 4 is backwards too. So they're in like a mirror world as spirits. Why they've been sentenced to this? And they're like, so they were sentenced to hell? The heroes were? And they're like, well, it's not exactly hell. They think they're alive, fighting to avenge their the people that are still alive that they think are dead. Look how his flame is green too. So interesting coloration here. So more updating here of what happened with Franklin Richards. We're finally getting to that story that Franklin was always kind of a threat to the Celestials. Galactus says, but I am the only true threat to the Celestials. Yes. So then why is this Earthling story bothering me so? Why have I remained here as long as I have? I should be bringing balance to the cosmos. I hunger, but I must know. I mean, great perspectives here, too, that Anderson is using to show the size of Galactus. I mean, look at him. Look at the Machine Man here compared to Galactus there, and from this angle as well, which we had a similar one at the beginning of the book. Now we see in the dead world, Dr. Doom taking on Johnny. I like the coloration on this page. I think it really, it's different. You've got this green flame. You got Dr. Doom wearing red. It's just kind of reversed, really, because normally his cloak would be green and the rest would be red. So reversed colors. It's mirrored and reversed. And Johnny's over here to convince Doom that he, too, is dead. And that they need his help, though, to send Sue back. And he's able to rip his mask off, and he's showing him that his scars are not there. But we don't actually get to see it, because it's like broken glass. It's a neat interaction. It's just it just feels strange if you haven't read Earth X or read it in a while. It's like you're kind of getting caught up to date as you read it. And then as I try to explain it, it feels even more convoluted than it was when I was actually sitting here reading it and digesting it. And it's making less sense to me, honestly, to recap it. And then we get a big twist in the story here. As Machine Man, who is the Watcher, and Galactus look down on Earth, all of a sudden, he starts seeing more visions of Days of Future Past. All of it. He sees Wolverine leading a team with Franklin, getting blasted by the Sentinels, and he's confused because this didn't happen in their world. That's like an alternate future that he doesn't know anything about. So he doesn't even know how to answer this question to Galactus. And Galactus, at this point, is tired of talking about it and just leaves. And that's kind of setting up the mystery, I think, for Universe X for the main series as it goes forward. And this gets wild too. So now we've got the child of Adam Warlock is coming to speak with Reed Richards, and Reed breaks down in front of this child for some reason and explains that like maybe taking that rocket wasn't about the space race or science or any of that. Maybe it was about testing her to see if she would go wherever I went and stay with me. Now, some of that I find odd, and even in the recap at the beginning, they have a scene of Reed and Sue like talking like they're in a relationship, because in those first issues of the Fantastic Four, you don't really see that. I mean, she seems infatuated with Submariner, but it isn't until like several issues in that you start getting the sense that she's got a thing for Reed, and that Reed actually reciprocates that. So when we do this revisionist stuff that shows them together, while it does make more sense in the bigger picture, it always feels a little shoehorned in at the same time. Anyway, the child says we're going to bring Sue back. Doom walks up in the afterlife area, and he asks for her forgiveness because he's the one that killed her. And he asks for forgiveness for everything in their history. I like this. I like this 2 pages with the 4 panels with Doom in the middle here. And we get a good look at his unscarred face right here. And shows how they died. Like, he was trying to kill Richards, and it got her in the blast, and Richards lived and took her too, because it was a fatal calculation on his part. So here comes Marvel, and he's saying it's time to go back. And this is where it just gets especially wild. So I guess these 2 characters are connected somehow through this life and death world. And Alicia is going to come over, and with her power, she is going to sculpt Sue out of Reed's pliable, stretchy arm and bring her back to life. Warlock is going to take the soul gem and give it to her to bring her back fully. and she says goodbye to Johnny. So very touching moments here. I mean, there's some emotional weight in this book for a future story. And as she awakens, it took Reed's arm. So he gave up an arm to bring her back. And she says, "Now I get to see you old." And she's older too. They brought her back into like an aged body. And yeah, you get a nice sweet moment of the two of them here with Reed missing an arm because she is his arm now, his right arm. And then it leads into the Universe X story with coming to see Uatu, who has not been plugged in. It looks like his eyes have been poked out, and he's saying, "You want to know why you're seeing multiple histories?" He just says it means this is far from over and to be continued in Universe X #1. So there's definitely some touching moments in this for an FF special. I think if you were just wanting to read this as a standalone FF story, it can be read that way. You do get enough out of it to understand it as you're reading it. I was having difficulty explaining it because the more I talked about it, I'm like, man, this is convoluted. If you're searching for this book, it does have a cool Alex Ross cover. It's a nice little piece to put in your FF box. Definitely fits in the broader Earth X, Universe X storyline, though. That's it for this one. Thanks for sticking around, and until next time, read your comics. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed my breakdown of this issue, you can support the channel by hitting subscribe. It costs you nothing and helps other comic fans find the channel. You can also visit readyourcomics.com for cool merch, like this. Read Your Comics isn't just a brand, it's a mantra. And when you wear a Read Your Comics shirt, you are helping spread the word. For more classic comics conversation, be sure to follow me on Instagram at read.your.comics. And if you're still here, why not watch one of my older videos? Here or here.